Captain Marcus Chen stared at the massive alien vessel through the viewport of the UES Harmony, humanity's first diplomatic ship designed for interstellar relations. 3 months into their maiden voyage to the Zeltharian Empire, and everything was going wrong. "Sir, incoming transmission from the alien flagship," Communications Officer Riley announced, her voice tight with worry. Marcus straightened his blue diplomatic uniform and nodded. On screen, the holographic display shimmered to life, revealing Princess Xiara of the Zeltharian Empire. She stood 7 feet tall with luminescent purple skin that seemed to glow from within. Her large, crystalline eyes sparkled like captured starlight, and delicate silver markings traced elegant patterns across her face and arms. 2 graceful antennae crowned her head, twitching with what Marcus had learned indicated strong emotion. "Captain Chen," she said, her voice melodic yet carrying an undertone of distress. "I must speak with you urgently about the cultural exchange ceremony tomorrow." Marcus felt his stomach drop. The ceremony was supposed to seal the peace treaty between humanity and the Zeltharian Empire, ending decades of border skirmishes. "Of course, Your Highness. What concerns you?" Princess Xiara's antennae drooped slightly. "My advisors have informed me of a grave matter regarding your participation in the bonding ritual. They say humans do not understand the true meaning of this ceremony." The captain exchanged worried glances with his diplomatic team. Ambassador Sarah Martinez, humanity's lead negotiator, stepped forward. "Your Highness, we've studied your customs extensively. The bonding ritual represents the joining of our 2 civilizations in peace and friendship." A soft, musical sound escaped the princess. What Marcus had learned was Zeltharian laughter, though it didn't sound particularly happy. "Oh, dear human friends, I fear there has been a tremendous misunderstanding. The bonding ritual is not merely symbolic diplomacy." Marcus felt his blood run cold. "What do you mean, Your Highness?" "In Zeltharian culture, when a male participates in the bonding ritual with an unmarried female of royal blood, it constitutes a formal marriage proposal. By accepting my invitation and agreeing to participate, Captain Chen, you have essentially asked for my hand in marriage." The bridge fell silent, except for the gentle hum of the ship's systems. Marcus opened and closed his mouth several times, looking remarkably like a fish out of water. Ambassador Martinez grabbed the nearest chair for support. "Marriage?" Marcus finally managed to croak. Princess Xiara's skin brightened to a brilliant violet, and her antennae began dancing with excitement. "Yes, and I must confess I am absolutely delighted by your proposal. You humans are so wonderfully straightforward in your romantic pursuits. No lengthy courtship rituals, no complex political negotiations. Just a simple, direct marriage proposal through diplomatic channels." "But Your Highness," Ambassador Martinez interjected desperately, "Captain Chen is already married. He has a wife back on Earth." The princess tilted her head, her antennae curling with curiosity. "Married? But my cultural advisors assured me that humans practice sequential monogamy. Surely he can simply divorce his current wife and marry me instead. Is this not how human relationships function?" Marcus felt the walls closing in around him. Behind the princess, he could see her own advisors nodding enthusiastically, clearly pleased with what they perceived as a successful diplomatic coup. "Your Highness," Marcus said carefully, "I'm afraid there's been a serious misunderstanding. I never intended to propose marriage. In human culture, participating in ceremonial rituals is often just symbolic." The light in Princess Xiara's eyes dimmed slightly, and her skin shifted to a deeper purple. You do not wish to marry me?" The pain in her voice was unmistakable, and Marcus felt like the worst person in the galaxy. Here was someone who had clearly developed genuine feelings, and he was crushing them through a cultural misunderstanding. "It's not that, Your Highness. You're clearly remarkable, intelligent, and beautiful by any standard. But I love my wife, and in human culture we typically marry for love, not political alliance." "But surely you could learn to love me?" the princess asked hopefully. "I have been studying human culture for months in preparation for our meeting. I have learned to appreciate your music, your literature, your strange obsession with a beverage called coffee. I even practiced human dancing." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's xenobiologist, leaned over to Marcus. "Sir, we need to handle this delicately. Rejecting a Zeltharian royal marriage proposal is considered a grave insult. It could restart the war." Marcus rubbed his temples, feeling a headache building. "Your Highness, perhaps we could discuss alternative arrangements. Maybe the ritual could be modified." Princess Ziara's advisors immediately began chittering in their native language, clearly agitated. The princess raised a graceful hand to silence them. Captain Chen, I appreciate your honesty, but you must understand the position this places us in. The bonding ritual has been announced across both our empires. My people are expecting a wedding. Your people are expecting a peace treaty. If the ceremony is cancelled or modified, it will be seen as a rejection not just of me but of our entire civilization. Ambassador Martinez stepped forward again. Surely there must be some diplomatic solution. Perhaps a symbolic ceremony that doesn't carry legal weight? Impossible, said High Advisor Kith, the princess's chief counselor, his voice like grinding crystals. The sacred laws are clear. Once a bonding ritual is proposed and accepted, it must be completed, or the alliance is void. Marcus looked around his bridge at his crew's worried faces. His wife's picture sat on his command console, Emma smiling brightly in their garden back on Earth. They'd been married 15 years, had 2 children together. But if he refused this marriage, the peace treaty would collapse and thousands of soldiers on both sides would die in renewed warfare. How long do I have to decide? Marcus asked quietly. Princess Ziara's antennae drooped with sympathy. The ceremony is tomorrow at the convergence of our suns. By Zeltharian law, you have until sunrise to make your final decision. As the transmission ended, Marcus slumped into his captain's chair. His first officer, Commander Torres, placed a supportive hand on his shoulder. Sir, there has to be another way, Torres said. We just need to think outside the box. Marcus stared at the stars wheeling slowly past the viewport. Somewhere among them was Earth, where his wife was probably putting their children to bed, completely unaware that her husband was facing an impossible choice between love and duty. Get me a line to Earth, Marcus said finally. I need to talk to my wife. The fate of 2 civilizations now hung in the balance, all because of a cultural misunderstanding about marriage customs. The communication delay between the Zeltharian system and Earth was 47 minutes each way. Marcus paced his ready room, watching the timer count down until his wife's response would arrive. He'd sent the message 3 hours ago, explaining the impossible situation he faced. Emma's face appeared on the screen, and Marcus felt his heart clench. She looked tired, probably having been woken by the priority message. Her brown hair was messy from sleep, but her green eyes were alert and focused. Marcus, she began, her voice steady despite the circumstances. I got your message about the alien princess and the marriage thing. First off, stop beating yourself up about this. You didn't know about their customs, and neither did our diplomatic corps. She paused, running her hand through her hair. I've been thinking about this for the past hour. Jenny and Tommy are asleep, but I explained the situation to them. Jenny said, and I quote, Daddy's going to marry an alien princess? That's so cool. Tommy just wanted to know if she has superpowers. Despite everything, Marcus smiled. Trust his kids to find the bright side of an interstellar incident. Emma's expression grew serious. Marcus, I know you. You're probably thinking about refusing the marriage and letting the peace treaty fall apart because you love me and the kids. But honey, we both know that's not who you are. You became a starship captain to protect people, to build bridges between worlds. The transmission crackled slightly as she leaned closer to the camera. How many people will die if this war starts again? Thousands? Millions? I can't live with that on my conscience, and neither can you. Marcus felt tears stinging his eyes. After 15 years of marriage, Emma knew him better than he knew himself. But I have an idea, Emma continued. And Marcus could see that familiar spark in her eyes. The same look she'd had when solving complex engineering problems before becoming a teacher. You said the princess has been studying human culture, right? Well, maybe it's time she learned about human creativity and our talent for finding loopholes. The message ended, leaving Marcus staring at his wife's frozen image. Before he could fully process her words, his door chimed. Come in. Dr. Vasquez entered, carrying a datapad and looking excited. Captain, I've been researching Zeltharian marriage customs, and I think I found something important. Marcus gestured for her to sit. I'm listening. The bonding ritual creates what they call a soul partnership. It's considered the most sacred bond in their culture. But here's the thing. Zeltharian society is based on collective consciousness. They don't have individual ownership like humans do. Everything belongs to the community. What does that have to do with marriage? Dr. Vasquez grinned. Marriage partnerships in their culture aren't exclusive. A Zeltharian can have multiple soul partners, and it's actually considered a sign of great emotional capacity. The more partners you have, the more respected you are. Marcus felt a glimmer of hope. So Princess Yara wouldn't expect me to divorce Emma? Not only that, but according to their customs, your existing marriage to Emma would actually make you more attractive as a partner. It proves you're capable of maintaining long-term bonds. Before Marcus could respond, his communicator chirped. Captain to the bridge. Priority message from the Zeltharian flagship. Marcus hurried to the bridge where Princess Yara's image was already waiting. She looked distressed. Her skin a muted gray color that Dr. Vasquez had explained indicated worry. Captain Chen, I have been speaking with my cultural advisors about your situation. I understand that human marriage customs are different from ours, and I do not wish to cause you pain. Marcus straightened. Your Highness, I've been learning about Zeltharian customs as well. Dr. Vasquez has explained your concept of multiple soul partnerships. The princess's antennae perked up with interest. You have? Most humans find our collective bonding practices strange. Not strange, just different. Your Highness, if I were to enter into a soul partnership with you, would it be possible for my wife Emma to also be recognized as a partner in this bond? Princess Yara's skin began to shift to a brighter purple. You would want to include your Earth wife in our partnership? But she is on another world. Distance doesn't diminish love in human culture, Marcus explained. And if we're going to unite our civilizations, shouldn't our marriages reflect that unity as well? The princess was quiet for a long moment, her large eyes thoughtful. This is unprecedented. A three-way soul partnership spanning different species and star systems. But is it possible under your laws? Technically, yes. But your wife would need to consent to the arrangement, and she would need to participate in the expanded bonding ritual. Marcus felt his heart sink. She's 47 minutes away by communication. There's no way she could get here in time. Princess Yara's advisors began chattering excitedly in their native language. High Advisor Kith stepped forward, his crystalline features animated. Your Highness, the ancient texts speak of the virtual bonding protocol for partners separated by vast distances. It has not been used in over 1,000 years, but the law still stands. Virtual bonding? Marcus asked. Princess Yara nodded slowly. In the early days of our spacefaring civilization, couples were often separated by long voyages. The virtual bonding protocol allows a partner to participate in the ceremony through quantum-entangled communication crystals. Your wife could be present spiritually, if not physically. Dr. Vasquez leaned over to Marcus. Captain, quantum entanglement communication would eliminate the time delay. Your wife could participate in real time. Marcus felt a surge of hope. Your Highness, would this arrangement be acceptable to your people? A three-way soul partnership with one partner participating virtually? The princess's skin began to glow with excitement. It would be extraordinary. A marriage that transcends space and species, joining not just two people but two worlds. My people would see it as the ultimate symbol of our alliance. But Captain, Ambassador Martinez interjected, we'd need to modify the peace treaty to reflect these new arrangements, and we'd need Earth's approval for such an unprecedented diplomatic marriage. Marcus nodded. Send a priority message to Earth Command and to Emma. Explain the situation and the proposed solution. Include all the legal and cultural details Dr. Vasquez has compiled. As his crew sprang into action, Marcus looked back at Princess Yara's image. Your Highness, if this works, you'll be gaining not just a husband but a sister wife who happens to be one of the most remarkable women in the galaxy. Princess Yara's antennae danced with joy. Captain Chen, your Emma must be truly extraordinary to have captured the heart of such a creative and honorable man. I look forward to sharing a soul partnership with both of you. For the first time since this crisis began, Marcus felt like maybe, just maybe, they could pull off a miracle. But first, they had less than 18 hours to arrange the most complicated wedding in galactic history. Emma Chen sat in her kitchen on Earth, surrounded by coffee cups, data pads, and printouts of Zeltharian cultural documents that had been transmitted from the UES Harmony. Her children, Jenny and Tommy, sat across from her, having been excused from school for what Emma had explained as the most important family meeting in human history. So let me get this straight. Mom, 15-year-old Jenny said, her dark hair falling into her eyes as she leaned over a translation of Zeltharian marriage customs. Dad accidentally proposed to an alien princess, and now you're thinking about marrying her too? Emma rubbed her temples. It's more complicated than that, sweetheart. If we don't find a solution, the peace treaty falls apart and people die. The princess suggested a three-way soul partnership that would satisfy both human and Zeltharian customs. 12-year-old Tommy looked up from his tablet, where he'd been watching videos about Zeltharian culture. Mom, look at this. Zeltharian families are huge. Some soul partnerships have like 20 people in them, and they all take care of each other's kids. It's like having the biggest family ever. Emma smiled despite her anxiety. Tommy had always been fascinated by different family structures, probably because he'd been adopted from the Mars colonies when he was 3, after his parents died in a mining accident. But what about you, Mom? Jenny asked quietly. Are you okay with sharing Dad with someone else? Emma was quiet for a moment, looking at her wedding photo with Marcus on the mantelpiece. Honestly, I'm terrified. Your father and I have been together for 15 years. The idea of him with someone else. She trailed off, then straightened. But I've been reading about Zeltharian culture, and their concept of love is different from ours. They don't see love as something finite that gets divided. They see it as something that grows when shared. Her communicator chimed with an incoming priority message. Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on the screen, looking haggard. Mrs. Chen, I've been briefed on the situation. I want you to know that Earth Command is not pressuring you to accept this arrangement. While the peace treaty is important, we won't ask you to sacrifice your marriage for politics. Emma nodded. Thank you, Admiral. But I think you're missing the point. This isn't about sacrifice. This is about building something new. Ma'am? Admiral, what if this isn't just about preventing a war? What if this is about creating a new model for interspecies relationships? My husband accidentally stumbled into the most important diplomatic marriage in human history. We can either let fear guide our decision, or we can choose to build bridges. Before the Admiral could respond, another transmission came through, this time from Princess Giara herself. Emma had requested a private conversation with her potential sister-wife. The princess appeared on screen, her luminescent purple skin soft and warm in the ship's lighting. She looked nervous, her antennae twitching slightly. Mrs. Chen, the princess began, her melodic voice careful and respectful. I want you to know that I deeply regret the misunderstanding that has led to this situation. I never intended to cause problems in your marriage. Emma studied the alien princess carefully. Despite her otherworldly appearance, there was something unmistakably genuine in her large crystalline eyes. Your Highness, may I speak freely? Please do. I value honesty above all else. Emma leaned forward. Are you in love with my husband? Princess Yara's skin flushed to a deeper purple. Yes, I believe I am. I have studied human culture extensively in preparation for these negotiations. Your husband embodies everything I find admirable about humanity. His creativity, his compassion, his willingness to sacrifice for others. But I want you to know that I would never want to take him away from you. And what do you know about me? The princess smiled, an expression that was surprisingly human despite her alien features. Captain Chen speaks of you constantly. He says you are the smartest person he knows, that you solved the atmospheric recycling problem for the Mars colonies, that you can fix anything that's broken. He says you make him want to be a better man. Emma felt tears welling up. That sounded like Marcus. Your Highness, what would this soul partnership actually mean, in practical terms? In Zeltharian culture, soul partners share everything: emotions, resources, responsibilities, joys, and sorrows. We would all be responsible for each other's well-being. Your children would be my children, and any children Marcus and I might have would be yours as well. Children? Emma hadn't considered that possibility. The genetic compatibility studies show that human Zeltharian reproduction is possible, though rare. But in our culture, biological parentage is less important than emotional bonds. All children belong to the entire partnership. Emma was quiet for a long moment, then asked, Do you really believe this could work? Or are we all just fooling ourselves? Princess Yara's antennae drooped slightly. I don't know, Emma. May I call you Emma? I've never been in love before. Zeltharian royalty typically marry for political reasons, but the thought of building a family with you and Marcus, of helping to unite our species through love instead of just politics, it feels right. Emma looked at her children who had been listening quietly. Kids, what do you think? Jenny was thoughtful. Mom, remember when you and Dad fostered those refugee kids from the Europa station? You always said our family was stronger because we helped others. Maybe this is the same thing, just bigger. Tommy bounced in his chair. Plus, I'd have an alien stepmom. How cool is that? None of my friends can say that. Emma laughed despite herself. Tommy, this isn't about being cool. This is about whether we can make this work as a real family. But why can't it be both? He asked. Princess Yara spoke up. Emma, I have a proposal. What if we start slowly? The virtual bonding ritual would make us soul partners legally, but we could take time to actually get to know each other. I could visit Earth, you could visit Zelthara. We could build this relationship gradually, with respect for everyone's feelings. Emma stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere among them, her husband was waiting for her decision. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, but more than that, the future of her family was at stake. Your Highness, Emma said finally, turning back to the screen. I have conditions. Princess Yara's antennae perked up attentively. Name them. First, my children's well-being comes first, always. Second, Marcus and I maintain our home on Earth as our primary residence. Third, we take this slowly. Marriage is one thing, but love has to be earned. Agreed to all conditions, Princess Yara said immediately. Emma took a deep breath. Then yes, Your Highness. I consent to the soul partnership. Let's make history. As the transmission ended, Emma hugged her children tightly. In 24 hours, she would become part of the most unusual marriage in galactic history. She was terrified, excited, and determined to make it work. After all, humans had always been good at adapting to new situations. This was just the biggest adaptation any human family had ever attempted. The UES Harmony's main shuttle bay had been transformed into something that looked like a cross between a cathedral and a sci-fi movie set. Zeltharian quantum crystals hung from the ceiling, casting rainbow patterns across the polished floor. Human flowers from the ship's hydroponics bay mingled with exotic Zeltharian plants that glowed softly in the dim light. Captain Marcus Chen stood at the altar wearing his dress uniform, trying not to fidget. The quantum-entangled communication crystal beside him hummed softly, maintaining a real-time connection to Earth where his wife waited. Through the crystal's projection field, he could see Emma in their living room, wearing the blue dress she'd worn to their first wedding 15 years ago. Princess Yara approached from the other side of the bay, and Marcus felt his breath catch. She wore traditional Zeltharian bonding robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight, shifting from deep purple to silver as she moved. Her usually playful antennae were adorned with delicate silver chains that chimed softly with each step. The ceremony was being broadcast live to both Earth and Zelthara, making it the most watched event in galactic history. Representatives from both governments sat in the front rows, though Marcus noticed the Earth diplomats looked nervous while the Zeltharian delegation seemed genuinely excited. High Priest Vorthak of Zelthara stepped forward, his ancient voice resonating through translation devices. We gather today to witness something unprecedented, a soul partnership that spans worlds, species, and the very stars themselves. Dr. Sarah Kim, representing Earth's Universal Life Church, nodded respectfully. In the spirit of unity and love that knows no boundaries, we join these three souls in marriage. The first vow, High Priest Vorthak announced, is the vow of truth. Each partner must state their true feelings, without deception or diplomacy. Marcus looked at the crystal projecting Emma's image, then at Princess Yara. I won't lie, when this started I was terrified. The thought of sharing my marriage with someone else went against everything I thought I believed about love. But Emma taught me that love isn't about possession. It's about growth. Princess Yara, you've shown me that there are different kinds of love and that opening our hearts doesn't make them weaker. It makes them stronger. Princess Yara's skin glowed warmly. Captain Marcus, when I first learned about human culture, I thought you were all primitive beings driven by simple emotions. But you've taught me that humans possess something we Zeltharians have forgotten. The courage to love without guarantees. I don't know if this will work, but I know it's worth trying. Emma's voice came through the crystal clear and strong. I'm standing in our living room on Earth about to marry a woman I've never met in person, to share my husband with someone from another world. 6 months ago I would have said this was impossible, but impossible things happen when people choose love over fear. Sarah, I don't love you yet, but I choose to try. Marcus, I love you enough to let our marriage grow bigger than just the two of us. High Priest Vorthak raised his crystalline staff. The second vow is the vow of unity. The partners must demonstrate their willingness to share their lives completely. Marcus pulled out a small device, a quantum-linked data storage unit containing his personal memories, photos of his life with Emma and the children, his fears and hopes and dreams. Princess Yara produced a similar device pulsing with soft purple light, containing her own memories. Emma held up a data crystal from Earth. "We share our pasts," they said in unison, placing the devices into a central fusion unit that would allow each of them to access the other's memories. Dr. Kim stepped forward. "The third vow is the vow of future. Each partner must commit to building something new together." Princess Yara spoke first. "I vow to learn what it means to be human, to embrace your customs while sharing my own. I vow to be a mother to Jenny and Tommy, to support Emma's work and to help Marcus command with wisdom and compassion." Marcus nodded. "I vow to be a bridge between our worlds, to honor both human and Zeltharian traditions in our marriage. I vow to protect this family we're creating, whether they're on Earth, in space, or on Zelthara." Emma's image smiled through the crystal. "I vow to open my heart to new possibilities, to welcome Ciara into our family, and to show her that human love is strong enough to span the galaxy." The final part of the ceremony required something unprecedented, a quantum-entangled kiss that would bind their souls across space. Marcus leaned toward Princess Yara as she activated the quantum field around them. Emma, on Earth, placed her hand on the corresponding crystal. The moment their lips met, Marcus felt something incredible happen. Through the quantum entanglement, he could feel Emma's presence as if she were standing right beside them. More than that, he could sense Princess Yara's emotions, her nervousness, her joy, her deep longing for family and belonging. The three-way connection lasted only seconds, but in that time Marcus understood something profound about Zeltharian bonding. It wasn't just about marriage, it was about truly becoming one family, sharing thoughts and feelings and dreams. As they separated, Princess Yara's skin was glowing so brightly that she looked like a living constellation. Emma was crying through the quantum crystal, but she was smiling too. "By the authority of both Earth and Zelthara," High Priest Vorthok announced, "I declare you bound as soul partners, united across the stars." The shuttle bay erupted in cheers from both human and Zeltharian crew members. Confetti made from flower petals and crystalline particles fell from the ceiling like colorful snow. But the celebration was interrupted by an urgent communication from the bridge. Commander Torres' voice came through the comm system. "Captain, we're receiving priority signals from multiple ships. The Andromedans have been monitoring our transmissions." Marcus felt his blood run cold. The Andromedans were a militaristic species that had been watching the human-Zeltharian conflict with interest, waiting for one side to weaken so they could move in and claim both territories. Princess Yara grabbed his arm, her antennae twitching with alarm. "The wedding ceremony, it was broadcast across the galaxy. If other species see this as a sign of weakness or political confusion..." Emma's voice came through the crystal, urgent but determined. "Marcus, you need to get to the bridge. Ciara, this is your first test as part of this family. We protect each other no matter what." As they hurried toward the bridge, still in their wedding clothes, Marcus realized their marriage had just become more than a personal commitment. It was now a symbol that would either unite the galaxy or tear it apart. The honeymoon, it seemed, would have to wait. But as he looked at his two wives, one beside him and one linked through quantum entanglement, Marcus felt something he'd never experienced before. The absolute certainty that whatever came next, they would face it together. The wedding was over, but the real adventure was just beginning. The bridge of the UES Harmony buzzed with tension as Marcus, still wearing his dress uniform from the wedding, settled into the captain's chair. Princess Yara took the diplomatic advisor position, her wedding robes shimmering as she accessed the ship's systems. Through the quantum crystal link, Emma's voice provided real-time intelligence from Earth Command. "Report," Marcus ordered. Commander Torres gestured to the main screen. 15 Andromedan warships just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They're led by the flagship Iron Dominion, General Thaxon's personal vessel. Marcus grimaced. General Thaxon was known throughout the galaxy as the Planet Breaker, responsible for conquering 7 star systems in the past decade. The Andromedans were humanoid but larger than humans, with metallic gray skin and cybernetic implants that made them formidable warriors. "Incoming transmission," Communications Officer Riley announced. The main screen flickered to life, showing General Thaxon's scarred face. His eyes glowed with cybernetic implants, and his voice was amplified through mechanical vocal cords that gave it an intimidating metallic rasp. Captain Chen, Princess Yara, congratulations on your interesting wedding ceremony. His tone made it clear he found nothing congratulatory about it. I am here to discuss the new political situation your marriage has created. Princess Yara leaned forward, her diplomatic training taking over despite the circumstances. General Thaxon, this is a peaceful diplomatic mission. Your presence here with a battle fleet suggests otherwise. Thaxon's mechanical laugh was like grinding gears. Peaceful? You've just created the most powerful political alliance in the galaxy. The combined fleets of Earth and Zelthara, unified through marriage. Some might call that an act of aggression. Marcus stood up. Our marriage is about peace, not conquest. We're ending a war, not starting one, are you? Thaxon asked. From where I sit, it looks like two weakened civilizations desperately clinging to each other for survival. The Andromedans have been monitoring your conflict for months, waiting to see which side would fall first. Instead, you've given us something more interesting. A chance to test whether love really is stronger than military might. Emma's voice came through the quantum crystal, urgent and analytical. Marcus, I'm pulling up intelligence files on Andromedan culture. They respect strength above all else. Thaxon isn't here to attack. He's here to evaluate whether our alliance makes us stronger or weaker. Princess Yara's antennae twitched as she processed this information. General, are you proposing some kind of test? Thaxon's cybernetic eye glowed brighter. Indeed. Andromedan law requires us to challenge any new political entity that might threaten our expansion. However, we are not unreasonable. Instead of immediate conquest, I propose a series of trials to determine whether your marriage alliance is genuine or merely political theater. What kind of trials? Marcus asked warily. 3 tests, Thaxon explained, raising 3 metallic fingers. First, the test of unity. Can your combined forces work together effectively? Second, the test of sacrifice. Are you willing to risk everything for each other? Third, the test of strength. Can your alliance protect itself from real threats? Dr. Vasquez leaned over to Marcus. Captain, this might actually be an opportunity. If we pass their tests, the Andromedans might recognize our alliance as legitimate. That would prevent future conflicts. Emma's voice came through the crystal again. Marcus, Earth Command is analyzing this. Admiral Rodriguez says the Andromedans have never offered trials instead of immediate conquest. This is unprecedented. Princess Yara stood gracefully. General Thaxon, we accept your trials. When do they begin? Thaxon's expression showed something that might have been approval. Immediately. The first trial begins now. The screen changed to show a tactical display of the star system. 3 Andromedan scout ships are now attacking civilian transports in the outer system. 1 human, 1 Zeltharian, and 1 carrying refugees from the recent border conflicts. Your combined fleets must coordinate to save all 3 ships simultaneously. Marcus felt his stomach drop. The human and Zeltharian fleets had been enemies until yesterday. They'd never coordinated operations before. The catch, Thaxon continued, is that each ship requires different tactics to save. The human transport needs rapid-fire precision weapons. The Zeltharian ship requires energy-dampening techniques. And the refugee vessel needs boarding action to remove explosive devices. You have 30 minutes. As the transmission ended, Marcus turned to his mixed crew of humans and Zeltharians. You heard him. Commander Torres, coordinate with Princess Xiara's tactical team. We need to split our forces and work together like we've been doing this for years. Princess Xiara was already interfacing with the Zeltharian fleet through her bio-neural implants. Captain, our ships are better suited for energy work, but your human crews are superior at boarding operations. Emma's voice provided real-time strategic analysis. Marcus, I'm running simulations from Earth. If you take the human transport, let the Zeltharians handle their own ship, and send joint boarding teams to the refugee vessel. You can maximize each fleet's strengths. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Marcus watched on the main screen as human and Zeltharian ships moved in perfect synchronization for the first time in history. The UES Defiant and 3 Zeltharian cruisers engaged the scout ships attacking the human transport, their combined firepower overwhelming the enemy's shields. Meanwhile, Princess Xiara coordinated with the Zeltharian flagship to create an energy-dampening field around their attack transport, neutralizing the Andromedan weapons without damaging the civilian ship. The refugee vessel required the most complex operation. Human Marines and Zeltharian warriors beamed aboard together, their different fighting styles complementing each other as they systematically disabled the explosive devices. With 3 minutes to spare, all 3 transports were safe. General Thaxton's face reappeared on screen, and for the first time he looked genuinely impressed. Remarkable. Your fleets worked together as if they'd been unified for decades. The first trial is passed. Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead. What's the second trial? The test of sacrifice will be more personal, Thaxton said ominously. I have captured someone important to your alliance. You must choose who to save. The screen split to show 2 holding cells aboard the Andromedan flagship. Marcus felt his blood freeze. In one cell sat Ambassador Martinez, Earth's lead negotiator. In the other was High Advisor Kith, Princess Ciara's mentor and father figure. You can save only one, Thaxton announced. Choose wisely. You have 1 hour. As the transmission ended, Marcus looked at Princess Ciara, whose skin had gone pale gray with shock. Through the quantum crystal, he could sense Emma's distress as well. This wasn't just a test of their alliance. It was a test of their marriage. How do you choose between family members when the choice might destroy everything you've built? The second trial would determine whether their love was strong enough to survive impossible decisions. The conference room aboard the UES Harmony had never felt smaller. Marcus paced while Princess Ciara sat motionless, her skin cycling through colors of distress, gray, then dark blue, then back to gray. Emma's image flickered in the quantum crystal, her face tight with concentration as she analyzed data from Earth. There has to be another way, Marcus said for the 10th time. We can't just choose between Ambassador Martinez and High Advisor Kith. Princess Ciara's voice was barely a whisper. In Zeltharian culture, Kith is more than my advisor. He raised me after my parents died. He taught me everything about diplomacy, about honor, about what it means to serve others. Emma leaned forward through the crystal link. And Sarah Martinez has been Earth's voice in these negotiations from the beginning. She has 3 children waiting for her at home. Dr. Vasquez entered the room carrying a datapad. Captain, I've been analyzing the Andromedan challenge protocols. This type of test, forcing impossible choices, it's not really about who you save. It's about how you make the decision. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Andromedans believe that the quality of leadership is revealed under extreme pressure. They're not testing your tactical skills or your emotions. They're testing your decision-making process as a unified command structure. Princess Ciara's antennae twitched with sudden interest. You think they want to see if we can make decisions together as true partners? Exactly. The first trial tested operational unity. This one tests leadership unity. Emma's voice came through the crystal, excited. That's it. Marcus, remember when we had to choose between paying for Jenny's advanced placement program or Tommy's medical treatment when we were broke? Marcus smiled despite the dire circumstances. We didn't choose. We found a third option. What third option? Princess Ciara asked. We sold our hover car, took out a loan, and found a way to do both, Emma explained. Sometimes the right answer isn't choosing between 2 bad options. It's refusing to accept that those are the only options. Marcus turned to Dr. Vasquez. Can you analyze the Andromedan holding cells? Find me every technical detail about their prison ship. While Dr. Vasquez worked, Marcus opened a communication channel to the Andromedan flagship. General Thaxton's scarred face appeared on screen. General, I want to propose a modification to your test. Thaxton's cybernetic eye glowed with interest. You wish to negotiate? Bold, explain. You say this test measures our unity and decision-making under pressure, but any commander can choose between 2 options. Real leadership means finding solutions that others miss. Continue. Marcus gestured to Princess Ciara, who stood gracefully beside him. Princess Ciara and I challenge your top warriors to single combat. If we win, you release both prisoners. If we lose, we surrender ourselves in their place. Thaxton's mechanical laugh filled the room. Interesting. But I have a counterproposal. Your unity is based on your marriage, correct? Then let all 3 partners participate in the challenge. Emma's image straightened through the quantum crystal. I accept. What kind of combat? Not physical combat, Thaxton said, surprising everyone. Mental combat. Andromedans prize intelligence as much as strength. Each of you will face one of our top strategic minds in a battle simulation. The scenarios will be impossible to win individually, but if you can coordinate your strategies across 3 separate battles simultaneously. Princess Xiara's skin brightened with understanding. You want to see if we can function as a true collective intelligence, like the greatest Zeltharian partnerships? Precisely. But here's the complication. You'll each be fighting different types of battles. Captain Chen, you'll command a space battle. Princess Xiara, you'll manage a diplomatic crisis. Emma, you'll solve a complex engineering disaster. The scenarios are designed so that succeeding in one requires information from the others. Marcus felt a surge of excitement. This was actually playing to their strengths. What are the stakes? If you succeed, both prisoners go free, and the Andromedans will recognize your alliance as legitimate. If you fail, your marriage is declared a political sham, and we claim both your territories. Emma's voice came through the crystal, steady and determined. We accept. The next hour was unlike anything Marcus had ever experienced. Through the quantum-entangled battle interface, he found himself commanding a fleet against impossible odds while simultaneously sharing tactical data with his wives. His space battle involved defending a civilian evacuation convoy against overwhelming enemy forces. Traditional tactics failed. Every move he made resulted in civilian casualties. But then Princess Xiara's voice came through their shared link. Marcus, in my diplomatic scenario, I'm dealing with refugee populations. The civilians in your simulation aren't random. They're families trying to reunite. Try protecting the family groupings rather than the individual ships. The insight changed everything. Marcus began coordinating his fleet movements around family units, and suddenly the defensive patterns made sense. The attacking ships weren't trying to maximize casualties. They were trying to separate families to create chaos. Meanwhile, Emma was deep in an engineering crisis, trying to prevent a space station's fusion reactor from going critical. The power fluctuations in my scenario match the energy signatures in Marcus's battle. Xiara, are the diplomatic tensions in your scenario related to resource distribution? Yes. Princess Xiara's excitement was palpable through their link. The refugee crisis is caused by power shortages. Emma, if you can stabilize the reactor, it will provide the energy needed for the evacuation fleet in Marcus's battle, which will calm the diplomatic situation in mine. Working together across 3 separate but interconnected scenarios, they began to see the larger picture. This wasn't 3 separate tests. It was one complex problem that required 3 different skill sets to solve. Emma stabilized the reactor, providing power for Marcus's evacuation ships, which successfully rescued the refugee families, giving Princess Xiara the diplomatic leverage she needed to negotiate a ceasefire. As the simulations ended, General Thaxon's face appeared on screen, and for the first time he was actually smiling. Remarkable. In 50 years of testing, no alliance has ever recognized that the 3 scenarios were interconnected. Most groups treat them as separate challenges and fail. Your marriage has created something unprecedented, a true collective intelligence that maintains individual strengths while sharing knowledge instantaneously. Marcus felt exhausted, but triumphant. Both prisoners go free? Both prisoners will be returned immediately. But more than that, the Andromedan Empire formally recognizes the Human Zeltharian Alliance as a sovereign entity. We withdraw our claim to your territories. As the transmission ended, Marcus collapsed into his chair. Princess Xiara's skin was glowing with joy, and Emma was laughing through the quantum crystal. We did it, Emma said. We actually did it. But as Marcus looked at his 2 wives, he realized something important. This wasn't just about passing the Andromedan tests. They had discovered that their marriage was more than the sum of its parts. They were stronger together than any of them could be alone. The trials were over, but their real adventure as a family was just beginning. 6 months after the wedding that nearly started an interstellar war, the Chen Xiara household had developed its own unique rhythm. The family now split their time between 3 homes: the original house on Earth, a beautiful crystal dwelling on Zelthara, and their favorite, a specially designed space station called Haven Point, positioned at the gravitational balance point between the 2 worlds. Marcus floated in the observation deck of Haven Point, watching Earth and Zelthara both visible through the transparent aluminum windows. The past months had brought changes he never could have imagined. Princess Xiara, who now insisted everyone call her simply Xiara, had adapted to human family life with enthusiasm that sometimes overwhelmed even Emma. "Dad, come quick." Tommy's excited voice echoed through the station's corridors. At 13, he had grown 3 inches since the wedding and had become fluent in basic Zeltharian. Marcus pushed off from the window and glided through the low-gravity corridors toward the family quarters. The sight that greeted him made him stop and smile. Ziara was sitting cross-legged on the floor, her skin a warm golden color that indicated deep contentment, while Tommy and Jenny worked with her to assemble what looked like a complex crystal sculpture. "Look, Dad," Jenny said, now 16 and already accepted to the Interstellar Engineering Academy. "Ziara's teaching us how to grow memory crystals. This one will store our family history for future generations." Emma emerged from her workshop, her hair tied back and her hands stained with the bioluminescent paint she'd been using for her latest art project. The past months had given her a creative freedom she'd never experienced, inspired by the blend of human and Zeltharian aesthetics. "How's the diplomatic rotation going?" Emma asked, settling beside Marcus on the floating couch that Ziara had designed for their mixed-gravity living space. Marcus grimaced slightly. "Admiral Rodriguez wants me to consider a permanent position as ambassador to the Zeltharian Empire. The marriage has made me something of a celebrity in diplomatic circles." "And?" Ziara asked, her antennae perking up with interest. "I told him I'd consider it, but only if the position allows for family time. I didn't survive an accidental proposal in Andromedan trials just to become a workaholic." Emma laughed. "Speaking of family time, we need to discuss the logistics for next month." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "What's next month?" "The birth," Ziara said simply, her skin flushing to a soft pink color. Marcus nearly fell off the couch. "Birth? What birth?" Jenny and Tommy exchanged knowing looks. "Really, Dad?" Jenny said. "You haven't noticed that Ziara's been glowing more than usual, or that she's been eating those weird crystalline fruits constantly?" Marcus looked at Ziara, who was now definitely blushing a deeper pink. "You're pregnant?" "We're pregnant," Ziara corrected gently. "In Zeltharian culture, pregnancy is a family event, not just an individual one. The baby will be genetically yours and mine. But Emma has been participating in the bonding rituals that help shape the child's development." Emma grinned at Marcus's shocked expression. "Surprise. I've been helping with the prenatal neural development through the quantum link. The baby will have connections to all 3 of us from birth." Marcus sat down heavily. "A baby, we're having a baby. Half human, half Zeltharian," Ziara explained. "The first of our kind. Dr. Vasquez says the genetic combination is stable and healthy. The child will have the best of both species, human creativity and adaptability, Zeltharian empathy and longevity." Tommy bounced excitedly. "Can we name her Luna? Because she'll be like born between 2 worlds?" "Her?" Marcus asked. "Zeltharian families can sense the child's gender through quantum resonance," Ziara explained. "She's definitely a girl, and she's already showing signs of high intelligence and strong emotional bonds." Emma took Marcus's hand. "Are you okay with this? I know it's a lot to process." Marcus looked around at his extraordinary family, his brilliant wife who had embraced the impossible, his children who were growing up to be citizens of the galaxy, and Ziara, who had brought joy and wonder into their lives in ways he was still discovering. "Okay with it?" Marcus laughed. "Emma, 6 months ago I was a simple starship captain. Now I'm married to 2 remarkable women. I'm helping raise the first human Zeltharian hybrid child in history, and my kids are learning to grow memory crystals." "Okay" doesn't begin to cover it. A gentle chime indicated an incoming communication. Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on the main screen, looking simultaneously official and amused. "Captain Chen, I'm calling with 2 pieces of news. First, the Galactic Council has voted to establish a new position, Ambassador of Interspecies Family Affairs. They want you to head the department." Marcus looked at his family. "What would that involve?" "Helping other species navigate the complexities of interspecies relationships and families. Your marriage has inspired similar unions across the galaxy. There are currently 7 other interspecies marriages in various stages of negotiation." Emma leaned forward. "That sounds like something we could do together. A family business, so to speak." "The second piece of news," Admiral Rodriguez continued, "is that the Andromedans have requested permission to establish an embassy at Haven Point. General Thaxon apparently considers Your family, the most successful diplomatic experiment in galactic history, Ciara's antennae danced with amusement. The warrior race wants to study our family dynamics? It seems our marriage has become a case study in successful alliance building, Marcus said. What do you think? Should we become the galaxy's first family of diplomacy? Tommy raised his hand. Do I get to vote? Because this sounds awesome, Jenny nodded. I'm in too. My college applications are going to be so unique. Emma and Ciara exchanged a look, the kind of wordless communication that had developed between them over the months of shared quantum bonding. I think, Emma said slowly, that we've already proven that the impossible can become routine when you have the right family to support you. Ciara's skin glowed with warm golden light. Besides, our daughter will grow up in a galaxy where love truly knows no boundaries. That's worth working for. Marcus stood up and gathered his family into a group hug that somehow managed to include Emma through the quantum link. Admiral, tell the Galactic Council we accept. But we have conditions. Family dinners are sacred, holidays are non-negotiable, and any species that wants to learn about interspecies marriage has to be prepared for chaos, laughter, and a lot of improvisation. As the transmission ended, Marcus looked out the window at the stars that no longer seemed impossibly distant. Somewhere among them, other families were probably facing their own impossible choices, their own cultural misunderstandings, their own chances to build something extraordinary. You know what the funny thing is? Marcus said as they watched a Zeltharian transport dock with the station, bringing Ciara's parents for their weekly visit. What's that? Emma asked. I spent my whole career trying to explore strange new worlds and seek out new civilizations. But the most incredible discovery I ever made was right here, learning that families can grow in ways I never imagined, and that love really is the most powerful force in the universe. Ciara's antennae twirled with joy, and through their bond, Marcus felt the gentle presence of their unborn daughter, already curious about the wonderful, chaotic, loving family she was about to join. The stars wheeled overhead, and the Chen Ciara family settled in for another evening of controlled chaos, cross-cultural cooking experiments, and the kind of happiness that could only come from embracing the impossible and making it home.